Chapter 2. Duties and Disciplinary Rules. First, Employer's Duties. Article 61. In addition to the duties stipulated in this law and the regulations and decisions issued in pursuance thereof, the employer shall 1. To refrain from employing the worker as a slave and not to hold without a judicial authority the remuneration of the worker or part thereof. To treat his workers with due respect, and to refrain from any statement or act that prejudices their dignity and religion. 2. The workers shall be given the necessary time to exercise their rights provided for in this law without the deduction of wages for such time, and may regulate the exercise of this right in a way that does not interfere with the course of work. 3. To facilitate the staff of the competent authorities every task related to the application of the provisions of this system. Article 62. If the worker is present at the appointed time, or is willing to perform his work at this time, and has not prevented him from working for a reason, he shall be entitled to pay the period in which the work is not performed. Article 63. The employer or his agent or any person who has authority over the workers shall not allow the entry of any illicitly prohibited material into the workplace. The penalties prescribed in this law shall be applied against those who have found him or her, without prejudice to the legitimate penalties. Article 64. This article was amended by Royal Decree No. M46, dated the 6th of May, 1436 AH, to be as follows. The employer shall be bound at the end of the employment contract to the following. 1. The worker shall, at his request, issue a service certificate free of charge, indicating the date of his employment, the date of termination of his relationship with him, his profession and the amount of his last wage. The employer may not include in the certificate what may harm the reputation of the worker or reduce the chances of employment before him. 2. To return to the worker all documents or documents he has deposited with him. Second, worker's duties. Article 65. In addition to the duties stipulated in this law and the regulations and decisions issued in pursuance thereof, the employee shall 1. The work shall be carried out in accordance with the principles of the profession and in accordance with the instructions of the employer, if these instructions do not violate the contract, order or public morals. 2. To take adequate care of the machinery, tools, equipment and materials owned by the employer at his disposal or in his custody and to return to the employer non-expendable materials. 3. To be committed to good conduct and ethics at work. 4. To provide all assistance without requiring additional wages in the event of disasters and threats to the safety of the place of work or persons employed therein. 5. Subject to the employer's request, to undergo the medical examinations he or she wishes to perform prior to or during the course of work, in order to ascertain whether he or she is free of occupational or occupational diseases. 6. Preserves the technical, commercial and industrial secrets of the materials produced, contributed directly or indirectly to production, and all professional secrets related to the work or establishment, the disclosure of which would harm the interests of the employer. Third, disciplinary rules. Article 66. Disciplinary sanctions that the employer may sign for the worker. 1. Warning. 2. Fine. 3. Deprivation or postponement of the allowance for a period of not more than 1 year, when determined by the employer. 4. Postponement of promotion for a period of not more than 1 year when it was planned from the employer. 5. Suspension from work with deprivation of wages. 6. Dismissal from work in cases prescribed in the system. Article 67. The employer may not sign a penalty for the worker that is not mentioned in these regulations or in the regulation of work organization. Article 68. The penalty may not be increased if the offense has been repeated if the previous offense has elapsed 180 days from the date on which the worker is notified of the penalty. Article 69. A worker may not be charged with an offense that has been uncovered for more than 30 days. A disciplinary sanction may not be imposed after the date of the completion of the investigation of the violation and its confirmation in the worker's right for more than 30 days. Article 70. No disciplinary penalty may be imposed on the worker for an order he committed outside the workplace unless he is connected to the work, his companion or his responsible manager. And the worker may not sign a fine exceeding the value of 5 days, and not more than one penalty for each offense, and not to be deducted from his wage in fulfillment of the fines imposed on him more than the salary of 5 days in a month, nor to increase the period of suspension from work without pay 5 days a month. Article 71. It is not permissible to impose a disciplinary penalty on the worker unless he is informed in writing of what was attributed to him, his interrogation, his defense, and proof thereof in a record filed in his own file. The interrogation may be oral in simple offenses that do not exceed the penalty imposed on the perpetrator of the warning or the fine by deducting no more than a wage 1 day. To be proved in the record. Article 72. The worker shall be informed of the decision to sign the penalty in writing. If he refuses to receive or is absent, the communication shall be sent by registered letter to the address indicated in his file. The worker shall have the right to challenge the decision to impose the penalty on him within 15 days and submit an objection to the Labor Dispute Settlement Authority, and shall issue its decision within 30 days from the date of registration of the objection to it. Article 73. This article was amended by Royal Decree No. M. 46, dated the 6th of May, 1436 AH. To be as follows: the employer shall write the fines that he signs for the worker in a special register, indicating the name of the worker, the amount of his wage, the amount of the fine, the reason for signing it, and the date of that. The workers' committee in the establishment, and in the absence of a committee, the disposal of fines shall be approved by the ministry.